It's the man YSN, and you're listening to YSN Radio. Yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir. Y'all know what time it is, man. You're rocking with the man YSN, and you're tuning into the episode of YSN Radio, the coolest podcast in the South, man. Thank you very much for joining us today for another episode, man. Oh, man. Where do I even start, bro? We had a very great weekend last week. On last week's episode, I was talking about how we were coming off a fantastic weekend with the third annual Vibe Fest and celebrating that moment with Rich Homie Quan and everything that came around that. And, you know, since then, a lot of things have taken a turn for the worst, unfortunately. You know, I'm sure by now everyone has heard the news. Rich Homie Quan passed away. Rich Homie Quan sadly passed away last week, 4 days after he performed here in Knoxville for the Vibe Fest, man. Absolutely devastating news for everyone. His family, his fans, everyone here in Knoxville who the fans who came out to the show, and everyone who was involved with the show. Dirty Red, Khalil, and Vibe Town, you know, working very closely with them, you know, throughout the process, putting the show together. Myself DJing the show. Elena's Story for getting his final interview. That, you know, we didn't know that was, you know, who would have known that was it. That would be his final interview, man. But it really just all shook us, man, because, you know, we were celebrating, like I said, man, we were celebrating the moment. It was a huge moment for everyone involved. You know, Rich Homie Quan, seeing that, you know, after a long story career, he was still getting a whole lot of love, being able to meet him in person and to seeing how good and genuine of a guy he was, man, showing everyone so much love and respect, you know, before, during, and after the show, man. You know, it was devastating, man. It was devastating, man, you know. And, you know, we were thinking back to, you know, after the show and after he performed, mind you, he performed for like an hour. After he got done performing, he went down on the floor and literally took pictures and videos with everyone who stayed back after the show, after they cut all the lights on. Everyone who stayed on the floor after the show was over, he made sure to shake everyone's hand, take a picture with them, and talk to them. Then he went backstage for the meet and greet portion of the show for the people who had special meet and greet passes, interacted with everyone. And not even just like a quick hi and bye picture, you gotta go. Like, he literally like took time, looked people in their eyes, and talked to them, man, for a while. Like, his people that was with him were, you know, they were ready to go, but he was like, hold on, you know, I need to talk to him. You know, of course, sat down with Elena, gave her that interview. You know, just a very nice and personable dude, respectful, humble, and it was very sad, man, very tragic way to go out, man. So rest in peace to Rich Homie Quan. Prayers to his family, his children, man. And, you know, very horrible and unfortunate situation, man. You know, and while we were dealing with that, you know, we lost someone else that hit pretty close to home, man. Quite literally very close to home, at home actually. A good friend of mine, DJ Svnny D, passed away the same day. And that really hurt, man, because I knew him personally. And we go back to 2018. You know, he's one of the, he was the DJ in Nashville, you know, putting on the biggest shows every single week, multiple different places throughout the city, man. You know, every time I came back home, if I wanted to go out, I'm hitting up Svnny, because he always had something going on. He was always bringing an artist or a guest or something. The last time I seen him was just a few weeks ago. he had Natalie Nunn at Link. I think I talked about this on the podcast, actually. He and Brooklyn, shout out Brooklyn, man, interviewed Natalie that day. That interview is going crazy right now, man. But that was the last time I seen him in person. Was at Link and Lavo Lounge when he had brought Natalie Nunn through. Chopped it up a little bit. Of course, he was ripping and running around, maintaining the event, man. But the last thing I said to him, man, I invited him to the Rich Homie Quan show. Say, hey, I got Rich Homie Quan coming to Knoxville in a couple weeks, man. Pull up on me, and which is crazy. This past weekend, I just came back from Nashville. This past weekend, he was supposed to bring Taseki, and I'd hit him up and asked him, what was going on this weekend, because I was planning on pulling up and fucking with him when I got to town this weekend, man. But he, of course, what happened, man. But Svnny D was such a good guy, man. Such a great, genuine dude who helped so many people in the city, man. Not just myself, but DJ Juwc, DJ Phantom, Brooklyn, Damon. The list goes on of people I know personally that just benefited. Not even benefited, was touched and was able to blossom just from knowing and having a relationship with Svnny D, because he was such a good guy. And I had him on the podcast, South by Southwest. He allowed me to come to his event and cover it and get interviews done, man. And I had him on, and he talked about his slogan, his brand, peace, love, and belly rubs, and how there's so much bullshit in the world, and he just wanted to spread positivity. And if you've ever had the privilege to be around Svnny D, that's all it was. Positive vibes, fun. You are going to have a good time around Svnny D, man. And I'm just glad that I was able to know him, build a relationship with him, and being able to work with him, And this past year, he actually became the Bruz, So it's just, oh man, it stings, man. It really stings, bro. And so that's been a very heavy blow, not just for myself, but for the entire city of Nashville as a whole. While I was back at home, they were showing them love on 101 The Beat, and Svnny D touched so many people, man, and he will sorely be missed, very much so. So rest in peace to Svnny D, man. He will definitely be missed, man. I hate to start the show off on such a down note, man, but like I said, man, last week we were celebrating, and both of these losses happened as soon as I dropped last week's episode, so it's I had but yeah, man, rest in peace to Rich Homie Quan, rest in peace to DJ Svnny D. Prayers to their families and through this difficult time. And they will never be forgotten, man. It will never be forgotten. Moving on, getting into some more lighter subjects, for sure. Just announced the Marble City Homecoming pop-up jam that's happening at Marble City Market Thursday, November 7th. That's going to be UT Homecoming weekend. If you've been following YSN Radio, following me, every year I've been putting on a music, art, and fashion showcase here in Knoxville, showcasing the best in music, arts, and fashion. So this year we have a fantastic lineup. Me and CB have worked hard putting this together, man. We actually have, in my opinion, probably one of the best lineups that we've had. This is our third time putting on the showcase, and this year we have a fantastic lineup, man. We got J Music holding it down from Memphis, Big Fuzz holding it down from Knoxville, yours truly, Jay, out of Nashville. You've heard her on the podcast before. Coffee, he's been at every single show we've done. So is Jay Music. We're also bringing superstar Swish and Chels the Mac representing Memphis as well. So we got all three sides of Tennessee. We got East Tennessee, Middle Tennessee, West Tennessee, all three major cities, Memphis, Nashville, and Knoxville, being represented at this year's Marble City Homecoming Pop-Up Jam, along with a fantastic roster of vendors. You can come out and get your vintage swag. We have some independent fashion brands, Lonely Lovers Club, and some art vendors, man, and a fantastic venue, Marble City Market. It's going to be a great show, free to get in, happening Thursday, November 7th. The Marble City Homecoming Pop-Up Jam is going to be a fantastic event. You need to be there. Go ahead and mark your calendars right now. It's going to be a great night of music, art, and fashion, man. Come get dripped up, listen to some good music, and have a good time with this, man. It's going to be a good one, man. It's going to be a good one. Speaking of performances, a lot of hubba has been happening, man. A lot of hubba has been happening, man. So the Super Bowl 59 halftime performer has been revealed to be Kendrick Lamar. And oh boy, did people have a lot to say about this, man. People thought so. Super Bowl 59 is supposed to be in New Orleans next year, and of course everyone was expecting Lil Wayne to be the performer for the halftime show at the Super Bowl, which makes a lot of sense. It's New Orleans. Lil Wayne's from New Orleans. It makes sense for Lil Wayne to be in the halftime show and have a Hot Boys reunion, as everyone was expecting. But picking Kendrick Lamar, a lot of people thought this was Jay-Z being petty because of the beef he has with Drake, Kendrick, and a lot of people had a lot to say, man. Very upset that Lil Wayne didn't get picked. Very upset that it was Kendrick Lamar, and a lot of shit has been being talking, man. And after looking through a lot of the debates and discourse that's been happening around it, I definitely understand both sides. You know, people are saying, you know, it is New Orleans. This is Lil Wayne's hometown. Lil Wayne is a legend in the rap game. I don't know how many times I have to get on this podcast to say Lil Wayne is an undeniable legend. He has set the blueprint for every rapper that we see today. He is definitely top 3 greatest rappers of all time. If not top 3, top 5, top 10 at the very least, man. Lil Wayne is definitely a living legend. I've had the privilege of opening up for him when he came here in Knoxville, and I know he can put on a fantastic show. So the fact that he was overlooked for the Super Bowl is kind of alarming. It is kind of crazy. I'm not even going to lie about that. But I must be honest here. This is the Super Bowl we're talking about. This is one of the biggest events in American pop culture we're talking about here. I understand why they picked Kendrick Lamar. I know. I can understand why they picked Kendrick Lamar. Even though I would have liked to see Lil Wayne in a halftime show, I can understand why they picked Kendrick Lamar for a few reasons. One, let's think about Lil Wayne's lyrical content here, okay? Lil Wayne has some undeniable bangers. But this is the Super Bowl we're talking about. This is a family show. They couldn't even handle Janet Jackson's titties. Do you think they can be able to handle Lil Wayne rapping, I'm a venereal disease like a minstrel, I bleed? No. It's gonna be somebody complaining, okay? Another thing, let's be honest with ourselves, man. The drugs have taken a toll on Lil Wayne, all right? This is not the same person that was winning Grammys in 2008 aesthetically, all right? So we have to take that in consideration. Also, if we're talking about a Hot Boy reunion, once again, this is the Super Bowl. Back that ass up at the Super Bowl. Let's be honest with ourselves here, man. Let's be honest with ourselves here, okay? Is this what I want to see? What do I want to see? A Hot Boy reunion? Absolutely. That's why he's having a Louisiana Fest in December. A Lil Wayne concert is amazing, but for the Super Bowl, man, for the Super Bowl, while I agree it would be great, it just makes more sense for Kendrick Lamar to be on that stage, man. He is Kendrick Lamar has hits. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Kendrick Lamar has hits. Granted, does he have hits that are going to make me want to turn up? Maybe not, but hits nonetheless, okay? A few of my favorite songs by Kendrick: Swimming Pools, the recipe, collard greens, you know. So it's not like he's gonna get up there and not have shit to perform. All right, so that's not a concern of mine. You know, it is during Black History Month. Kendrick Lamar is probably one of the most pro-black artists we have in the mainstream hip-hop scene right now. And you know, let's just keep it a bean, man. He's had a fantastic year. You know, especially coming off the heels with the beef with Drake and him absolutely demolishing him. I can understand why they wanted to capitalize on the momentum. If we're talking about a hip-hop artist, Lil Wayne out the question, man. Let's remove Lil Wayne from the equation. If it was in a neutral zone, say they were going to have the Super Bowl in fucking damn Milwaukee. They were having it in Green Bay, Wisconsin or some shit like that. They were going to have the Super Bowl in Green Bay, Wisconsin. All right. There's no big name rappers coming out of Green Bay. All right. So let's be objective here. Okay. Who would make sense to be put on the Super Bowl stage rapper wise right now that would be appropriate for the Super Bowl audience? I can understand why they would go with Kendrick. All right. It's all about it's all about dollars at the end of the day, man. It's all about dollars at the end of the day. Speaking of his coming off the beef with Drake, he did throw some shots at him in his announcements. In his announcement, he said, games are won in the first round, no round twos. Subtle shot to Drake. He did say he was going to come back around for round two. And a lot of Drake stands were thinking that Drake was going to come back and redeem himself for round two with a rap beef with Drake. And I'm going to be here to tell you, y'all need to hang that shit up, bro. It's a wraps. It's over. It's over. If Drake can't come back from this. The minute Kendrick Lamar performs Not Like Us at the Super Bowl, Drake will forever be etched in history as the biggest loser in hip hop. I'm not even gonna lie to you, man. And I'm a Drake fan. I can't even lie to you, man. The moment Kendrick Lamar performs Not Like Us at the Super Bowl, Drake, that stain on Drake's career will just be etched in stone. There's no coming back from that at all. It's already cool to hate on Drake right now. Kendrick getting in the Super Bowl and just shitting on him even harder, that's just going to drive the nail straight into the fucking ground. One thing I do not like about this discourse, though, like I said, it is cool. It has been cool to hate on Drake all year long since the beef with Kendrick drops, especially after Not Like Us. It's trickled over to Yachty, and now with this debate with Kendrick Lamar and Lil Wayne in the Super Bowl halftime show, the hate is starting to trickle down to Lil Wayne, and people are starting to act like Lil Wayne does not have any hits. People are starting to act like Lil Wayne is not that nigga, and I understand, you know, I just said I can understand why they picked Kendrick Lamar over Lil Wayne, but let's not get ahead of ourselves here. All right, let's not get ahead of ourselves here. Let's not make the recency bias and the coolness to hate on Drake just blind us to the fact that Lil Wayne is a living legend. That's absolute horseshit, man. All the tweets I've been seeing shitting on Lil Wayne, saying that you're telling me how to love. You want to listen to How to Love in a Super Bowl? You want to listen to A Million in a Super Bowl? Yes. Yes, I do. Take me to jail for it. That does not take away from the fact, man, that Kendrick Lamar is just the smartest choice. The safest choice, rather. But trying to shit on Lil Wayne and acting like he just all of a sudden is trash all of a sudden, hang that shit up too, bro. That shit's raps, man. That shit's raps, man. I got a lot of backlash. Moving on, I got a lot of backlash off last week's episode, man, because I talked about which rappers had the biggest year this year in 2024. A lot of people thought Kendrick should have been mentioned in my top three. If you need to remind me, if you didn't catch it, I said Future, Bossman, D-Lo, and Lotto all had a great year. That was my personal opinion, but a lot of people, especially on TikTok, had a lot to say. They thought Kendrick Lamar should have been included in the list, man, in the running at least. You know, let me read some of the comments. Let me pull it up because this one nigga had a whole lot to say about who is his name? Let me pull him up. It's Stay Dazed said this trash ass list, and I was like, who's your picks? This man says 3 Drake, 2 Future, 1 Kendrick. That beef was too big to be anyone else. My argument: Kendrick only dropped 1 big song this year. He did not put out any albums, no mixtapes, no nothing. He only had 1 song, Not Like Us. You could argue the concert, Not Like Us concert, you feel me? But in my opinion, I feel like at the moment, last week, he had 1 song, and to put him over Future, who dropped 2 #1 albums this year, and if we're being honest, Kendrick's moment with Drake would not even been, had it not been for Future putting him on the song. So, me personally, I say you can't compare 1 song to 2 #1 albums in a year. I'm talking about, and all the artists that I had in that list dropped an album this year. Kendrick has not put out an album this year. In fact, he hadn't put out an album in 2 years. And I'm not even gonna lie, after he got announced for the Super Bowl, I might have to give it to him, man. I might just have to give it to him, man. Maybe maybe he did have a big 2024. Maybe he was one of the biggest rappers of 2024 this year. I know. Gotta go back and eat my words. Hey, man, I'm man enough to do it. I am man enough to do it, man. Moving on, the debate just wrapped up just a few short minutes ago. And I got to Juwc the Plug is going to be joining us on the second half of this episode to talk more about it. I know a lot of people are going to be tuning in to hear what I got to say about that, so just stay tuned. Juwc is going to be joining us here shortly to talk about that. Before we get into the debate talk, I did have one music review I wanted to get into, man. I listened to the LL Cool J album over the weekend. And which I know LL Cool J, why is him? What the fuck? What are you talking about, man? I had to listen to him, man. I had to listen to the LL Cool J, man, because I remember he had a tweet that came out a few years ago, and he said, if I hear another corny ass song, I might have to jump back in the booth and really do it to these meatballs. His words. And he finally did it to these meatballs, man. I'm not gonna lie. Listening to the album, it was a head bopper. Peak old nigga rap for sure. Peak old nigga rap at its finest. You know, am I gonna be playing LL Cool J in the club? Absolutely not. But will I play it at the vintage market with where the old heads can bob their heads and appreciate it? Of course. Peak old nigga rap right there, man. Listening to it, I thought it was very funny listening to it, man, because LL Cool J is quite literally one of the first rappers. One of the first rappers. When did LL Cool J drop his first album? Let's look it up. I think if I'm not mistaken, I think it was 1984, because he's celebrating the 30-year anniversary of something. Let me double check and see when he dropped his first album. Oh man, let me look it up, because if I'm not mistaken, okay, so he dropped his debut album Radio in 1985, signed to Def Jam in 1984. So yes, he's celebrating his 30th anniversary of being with Def Jam. Dropped his first album in 1985. So hip hop came into fruition in 1973, but I guess start picking up steam in the 80s. LL Cool J being at the forefront of that movement. Safe to say, LL Cool J is one of the first rappers, and so the fact that he put out a new album in 2024, I thought, just as a historian, I thought that was cool, man. And peak old nigga rap, but it's still a very cool project. He has some good features on there. He has Saweetie, Nas, a couple dudes on there, man. So yeah, if you want to give it a listen, go check it out. LL Cool J, The Force, pretty dope project, man. He finally did it to these meatballs, bro. Shout out to LL Cool J, man. Shout out to LL Cool J, man. But going to end it on that note, as far as the topics I had for this week, man. I got Juwc the Plug joining us in just a few to talk about the debate, so stay tuned for that. It's YSN Radio, the coolest podcast in the South. Let's go. What's up, y'all? It's the man YSN. Everyone knows that I live a very busy lifestyle, whether it's on the radio station recording this podcast, or maybe if I'm off on the road DJing somewhere, man, I'm always on the go. And one question that I always get asked is, how do you have the energy to continue to do all the stuff every single day, every single weekend? Where do you get all this energy from? Well, I'm going to tell you. And the answer is pretty simple. It's Dubby. Not only is Dubby your taste buds' favorite energy drink, it's also the official sponsor of YSN Radio, the coolest podcast in the South, man. Dubby gives you the focus and the energy without the jitters and the crash. It has no artificial sugars, artificial flavors, nor does it have any artificial dyes. Super good for you, man. The best ingredients for the best results. And if you don't believe me, try it for yourself. Go to dubby.gg and get yours today. All you got to do is use the promo code YSN for a 20% discount at checkout. Don't say I didn't tell you. Try it out for yourself. Be better with Dubby. It's YSN, man. Let's get back to the show. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Y'all know what time it is, man. You're rocking with the man YSN. We are back, man. YSN Radio, the coolest podcast in the South, man. I got a very special guest on the line with me right now, man. One of my best friends in the whole world, my most politically inclined friend in my Rolodex of contacts, man. I got the one and only Mr. DJ Juwc, the plug, on the line, brother. How you doing today, man?
I'm doing great. I'm doing even better after watching that little spat. You know, I appreciate the intro. Thank you so very much. You know,
no problem, man. No problem, bro. So the debate literally just went off a few minutes ago, man. And I would have to say, I think that was a great showing by Kamala Harris. What do you think?
I would agree. She did a lot of getting back to the point. Trump likes to gish gallish a lot, and gish gallop a lot. And she was like, "Why don't you just answer the question?" You know, especially on the Ukraine point and some other points that he just likes to divide and just let's go here, let's go there, let's not answer what was asked. And
right.
She did a good job of not allowing him to do that, at least not uncontested.
No, facts. I think the funniest thing to me, like you said, he was dodging the questions. I think the funniest point was when Matt Muir asked him about his role in the January 6th riots, right? And he asked, "Did you regret your actions on January 6th?" And he just completely went off on a whole rant about Kamala opening up the border and migrant crime and say, that's the people you need to be prosecuting, not me.
Yeah.
Who the fuck was talking about that?
Like, bro, what are you talking about, bro? Is Nancy Pelosi in the room with us? Like,
that was probably like the funniest thing, because I mean, the politicians, they all do that, you know.
Yeah.
Very away from the question and talk about completely unrelated, but I thought that was just so funny because nothing could have been further from the subject at all. He was just like, "What are you talking about me? The Venezuelans." No, speaking of the border, this has been going viral. I was keeping up with social media as the debate was going on. His comments on the Haitian immigrants eating cats and dogs. How do you feel about that statement, man?
Dude, that's absolutely insane. And it goes to show you that he is comfortable lying in front of the entire country. He did it so quickly and so effortlessly, like, you know, just unfounded facts. Just we're just gonna throw it out there, bro. You know, like, and then the moderator has to fact check him in real time, bro. Getting fact checked in real time in a national debate, bro, should automatically disqualify you for being the president. Like, automatic.
Yeah. They wasted no time. So literally every time he would stop talking, they'd be like, "Well, actually, no." Yeah. I think that was a great addition to like doing the fact checking, because I feel like within the last, I would say 8 years, you know, the thanks to Donald Trump, you know, the term fake news has been a very prominent phrase in today's lexicon. Yeah. And fact checking has been more important now than I feel like it's ever been, you know. So I like the fact that they do that, because it's super easy for them to get some bullshit off and everybody just picks it up and run with it, you know.
Yeah, exactly. And it's weird in the time of AI and stuff like that to just decide what's real and what's not, and what are credible sources and what's not. But I think having somebody there who at least has some frame of reference, that can provide context to this, that this isn't just said in an open space. And then, to quote Kamala Harris, you think you just fell out of a coconut tree? No, you exist in the context.
Right. No, thanks, man. So circling back to Kamala Harris, bro, how do you feel about her opening tactic, approaching him and shaking his hand before the debate even started?
I wouldn't have done it. But hey, look, it's all in good faith, and I think honestly, it was a power move.
Facts.
Because if you were paying attention, a lot of the body language, tells a lot. Like Trump leaning in a little more, Kamala Harris just standing straight up. He has an intimidating personality, but if you can stand up to someone who's like much taller than you and much bigger than you and older too, like you come across as strong. You know what I mean? That projects strength, and that's one of the things that is unfortunately a concern for a lot of Americans.
No, facts, man, facts. And I like how she maintained her composure throughout the entire thing. You watched the debate with him and Biden. They got into numerous arguments about some bullshit.
Yes.
I mean, they did have the little back and forth, but I feel like Kamala did a great job of maintaining poise and composure throughout the entire thing, especially when he was going on his tantrums and tirades throughout the debate. And after the debate commenced, I'm watching the ABC coverage of it. The panel post debate were pretty much in agreement that she carried herself like a president.
Yeah, and he definitely looked very flustered throughout that second half of that. He just was getting more angry and more angry because he's a media personality. He understands perception, how things are going to be perceived in the public, which is why he can do the Gish Galish thing and feel nothing. You know what I mean? And he can lie so easily in public because he understands how things will be perceived. That's just something that you get being a media personality for so long.
No, facts. You definitely learn how to work the public, and because in media, the public perception is everything. It dictates your entire career. I was watching this video earlier today, man. Shout out to Matty Boss, a creator on YouTube. He broke down Donald Trump's connection with hip hop. And one thing, after watching that video, it kind of reinforced some things that I've been thinking about a lot recently. People may have forgot about. Before jumping into politics, Donald Trump was actually a respected figure in American pop culture. Rappers were name dropping him in all their songs. He was popping up in movies. He's on, Home Alone 2. He was in fucking wrestling. WrestleMania 23. He was in one of the main events with Vince McMahon and Stone Cold Steve Austin. Donald Trump was a pivotal figure in American pop culture as a media personality. But after he jumped into politics, his entire aura changed, and I would say his legacy and character was permanently tarnished. And he's permanently stuck in this version that we see him today as this quote unquote politician, man. And I feel like long are the days where Donald Trump was the cool billionaire that was hanging out with all the rappers. He's become something far more divisive. In today's political landscape, man. So after this showing for tonight, bro, how do you feel going into the election? Where do you think people stand?
I think you brought up a good point that Donald Trump used to be very loved, and I want to make this point that he used to be loved before the internet, right? Before we could Google him and his response to the Central Park 5, before we could Google his lawsuits for housing discrimination. But I think the American people, and this is just my perspective on it and whatnot, but I think the American people, the sensible, the cool-headed people who aren't hyped up on extremism and propaganda and whatnot, are seeing the cooler head in this entire thing, right? And I always live by this phrase that the cooler heads will prevail. You know what I mean? He called out Kamala Harris for alarmism whenever it came to his threats to democracy, even though he literally talked about, you know, overthrowing the Constitution, and then 2 minutes later said that we would be in World War III if she got elected, bro. Like, make it make sense, you know what I mean? But that's one of the effects of having the internet, bro. We can Google you. Like, we can Google when you're lying. We can Google the Federal Bureau of Statistics and Crime and see that you literally lied to our face, you know? So that's what comes with, you know, the internet. That's the internet effect on Donald Trump and really all media figures.
Facts, man. Circling back to Kamala, bro. A couple weeks ago, I had brought up on the podcast, man. I said, posed the question, you know, will America vote for a black woman over Donald Trump? I was very nervous, and I spoke about this with my interview with Kanika that just dropped this week. I was very nervous because of Trump's persona, of his legion of undying supporters that will ride with him right or wrong, you know, and due to the fact a white woman ran against him in Hillary Clinton, and we saw how that went, man. So I was very worried when I heard Kamala Harris was filling in for the Democratic nominee for this election cycle against Trump. But how do you feel as far after watching her performance face to face with him today? How do you feel she will do in the eyes of the American voters after showing how she can withstand the debate against him today?
I think it's important that we remember that Donald Trump did lose to Hillary Clinton in the popular vote, right?
Facts.
He only won the Electoral College, right? So like, she got more votes than him. Let's remember that, right?
Right.
He won on a technicality, right? And he hates this term technicality, but I think the American people are past the notion that a woman couldn't be president in 2024, and that's just my perspective. I think we've came a long way on gender and reproductive rights, but let's be honest here, like, there's a lot of people, a lot of men who would feel some type of way about taking direction from a woman. Now, if it were anybody else than Donald Trump, we would be a different conversation. But this guy we're talking about is uniquely awful, right? Like, there's no one like him in American politics. I mean, 34 felonies, 60-something court cases. Bro tried to overthrow the country. I mean, he's already lost once to her running mate. It's a shoe-in, dude. It's a shoe-in, bro. Honestly, and you and me, to be honest with you.
Nah, yeah, I totally agree. Especially after this. After the debate tonight, man, it's kind of hard to. I've been trying to maintain objectiveness, you know, even though I am a much more left-leaning guy, but during this particular election cycle, I have been trying to keep an open ear to both sides. But like, he just makes it so hard to take that side seriously at all. You know, like during the debates with the other nominees, you know, for the Republican Party who all tapped out, I was tuned in. You know, I mean, I was genuinely interested to hear what they had to say, what, you know, ideas they were bringing to the table, because it was a breath of fresh air, actual politicians.
Yeah.
And now it's like, and then, you know, of course, we saw how that went. Everybody tapped out, and it was imminent doom when him and Biden. You feel me? It's like, well, goddamn. No, but it's like, do you feel like the Republican Party, after this election is over, do you feel like the Republican Party will wash their hands with Trump once and for all?
Absolutely. I think they're going to pivot extremely hard back to the center. And you can see that with longtime Republicans like Dick Cheney endorsing Kamala, and other Republicans who may have been never Trump before, but they're definitely not Trump now, right? And you can even see cooler headed Republicans, you know, people who just want lower taxes, right? Like, hey bro, I make $150,000 a year. I don't want to pay $75,000 in taxes, right?
Right.
Like that is an understandable position. Saying that Haitians are eating cats and dogs is not an understandable position, bro.
Not at
It's
all.
just not, dude. Like, you're not gonna win over the general average Joe Republican, which is why I think you can really tell that as a fact in the popularity of RFK. Right, I don't know if you said you followed the Republican primary, but RFK ran as an independent and was polling in some locations at 10 and 15%, and that was taking out of the Republican side of the polling, right? Like, so you're not pulling Democratic voters to vote for RFK, you're pulling Republican voters to vote for RFK, and I think that can speak to the general consensus of the voter pool, who is, there's a lot of people who just see what they see on TV and they just follow it, right? And if they see somebody and they know people in real life who are tired of the Republican Party, they're gonna follow it. And the Republican Party, the Grand Old Party, is very, very aware of this, right? Like, how do you convince the general public that lowering taxes on billionaires is a good thing, right? Like, they are very aware of how to position themselves and make things seem like they're in your benefit, even though it has nothing to do with you, right? Like, so when we see the Republican Party turn to extremism in the last like 8 years, it's just them following, right? Like, it's just them saying, well, Trump is popular, so now when he loses this election, I think they're gonna pivot right back to the center, right back.
No, facts. I totally agree with you, man, because I think at this point people have had enough.
Yeah,
the American people have had enough. I feel like the Republicans have had enough. It's only so much of this we can take.
I think we froze up there for a second.
There we go.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, man, but I feel like everyone has had enough. This is all becoming very stale and old. People just tired.
Yeah.
People just tired, man. There's way too much real shit going on to be entertaining this. You know what I mean? I feel like think about life in 2016, right? Granted, you and I were 18 years old, so we really had not much of a dog in the fight, man. But looking back, think about it. It was the tail end of the Obama administration. Things were cool. Life was cool. Gas was like $1.
Yeah.
Everybody was chilling. You know what I mean? The vibes were vibing. There wasn't really much. I may be wrong, but you know what I'm saying? Like, in my eyes at the time in 2016, like, things were just cool. So Donald Trump coming in and just saying all these very just volatile, crazy, off the wall things, man, it was exciting. It was something different. It was like, damn, you know what I mean? Like, we've never seen anything like this before, because, at the time, like, what real serious problems were we facing in 2016 that, we needed some
dire. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, I feel like because Obama had just set it up, you know what I mean? And Trump came in and just took a baseball bat to all of it. And like, shit got extremely real.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Coming around 2020 is COVID. People are dying. Everybody that lost their job. It's like, God damn, like, shit's real. You know what I mean?
I think I've seen a tweet that was like, I am tired of living through historical events.
So tired of it. So tired of it, man. And I feel like now it's like, after the assassination attempt and it's, I don't know, I think I'm just tired, man.
Yeah.
I'm just tired, bro. You know what I mean? I think it's definitely time to get younger blood in office. How old is Kamala Harris? Like 50 something?
I think she's 57 or 58 or something like that.
Exactly. It's like a 30-year difference between her and him and Trump. You feel, or him and Trump and Biden. So it's like it's someone who's younger, blacker, and a woman. You know what I mean? It's I don't know. I think it's time for us to step into a more serious direction Even if it's, just her being a black woman aside, man, I think we just need to go back to real politicians.
Yeah. I think
People who know what the fuck they're doing.
yeah, I think we got rid of the HR of politics, right? Like we were flying solo like for 4 years, no HR department, right? We just completely cut it out, no
Right.
PR department, and we're flying solo. And I think that was because Obama like was so very serious all the time. Like he's just he would do the pause where he speaks like this. Then he waits for 4 seconds so that you really hang on to every single word. And people started to catch on. People started to be like, okay, this is you're lying to us, or this doesn't feel right, And I think Trump spoke to transparency within the federal government, right? Like, and that's what his appeal was, right? But now we're seeing that same transparency that was his his rise is now his downfall, right? He keeps putting his foot in his mouth. He keeps saying things that, like, I mean, Haitians eating dogs and cats, dude. Like, you said that on a national debate thing, and like then tried to contradict the moderator. Well, we're gonna find out. Like, come on, bro. Like,
Yeah,
like, be
man.
fucking for real.
Yeah, bro. I don't think he did himself any favors tonight at all. No favors at all, man. But I think as far as the Harris campaign, I think this did wonders for her campaign, man. And I think it's going to be a step in the right direction. Moving on, they did spend a lot of time talking about the abortion debate, man. I feel like, as us as two men, we really don't have much of a dog in this fight because this is a women's health issue, but I find it interesting. It's like they just completely just ignored, just stopped talking about student loan forgiveness, and this is like what they're focusing on now. Which is great. I hope they make the right decision. You feel me? Like I said, I don't have a dog in that fight. I'm not a woman. You feel me? But I do think women should have that choice. But he brought up a great point. Trump did. I do have to give him one token. He did say that he's like, they're talking about they can get it done. That's like when they had their selling point with student loan forgiveness for the last election, and look what they did with that.
Yeah,
they sure pump faked us on student loan forgiveness. I cannot lie.
Yeah, they definitely pump faked us, and that's the kind of catch-22 about the Democratic Party, is that, like, the Republican Party for the general working class is literally a nightmare, right? Like, if you understand anything about economics or anything about like tax structures, it is a nightmare for Americans who are working class, right? But then the Democrats come and they promise us things, and then they can't deliver because they're beholden to the same donors that the Republican Party is. And that's one thing that, like, Americans like really have to understand is, like, the same donors that donate to the Republican Party are the same donors who donate to the Democratic Party, right? And they do that so that no matter who wins, the candidate that wins will be beholden to their interests, right? Because, they need, I mean, Kamala Harris was running an ad every single, I don't know if you watched college football this weekend. Every single college football game, there was a Kamala Harris ad. Bro, those are millions of dollars. Those cost millions of dollars per ad every single time. And in order for you to get that money, you're not going to be Bernie Sanders standing on the side. We are now asking you again for your support. I'm sorry. Like, I love Bernie and stuff like that, but we don't have the money for that. I'm sorry, Bernie. I gave you $5-10, but my guy, so we have to remember that the Democratic Party is beholden to the same interests, and one of those interests is the security firms, the private equity firms that hold the securities for student loan forgiveness. You know what I mean? But to speak to your point on abortion, I think it's very telling that they used the states' rights arguments for slavery and now they're using the states' rights argument for abortion, right? Like, same argument, two different things, but we can see that when they want to do something extreme, they turn it over to the states, right? Like, so that they can have a gerrymandered decision. You know, a federal or a national poll is more telling of how the American people feel, as opposed to like the states where, you know, Florida, like they were telling people they could vote and then they would lock them up for voter fraud. Like, that's insane, you know. So
Right.
we got to be realistic about what they're doing here.
Facts. The reason why I bring those 2 points up, man, because you know, while Kamala has been riding this horse about pro-choice and, you know, lifting that ban, you know, I kind of worry that this is another one of those instances like the student loans. Like, this is a hot button issue that everyone is worried about, and they're using this as the forefront of their campaigns to get all the attention, to get all the votes. But you know, when it comes down to it, they're going to piss the bed again.
Yeah, and I'm not numb to the fact that bureaucracy gets in the way a lot of times too, right? It's not necessarily that they don't have the ambition or the will to do it, right? I think it's more of like, we live in a state where we don't have dictators, that you have a very long and very arduous process to get federal bills and things like that passed. Now, like, you know, they're saying the president can, in a snap, you know, make an executive order. That was something that was unique to the Trump presidency. Executive orders are usually reserved for very emergencies type situations, and they can still be vetoed by the Senate and the House, which are controlled right now. I believe at least the Senate is controlled by Republicans, and in the House we've got some Democrats who are really Republicans, but you know, they have that D beside their name.
No, facts, man. So I think it's going to be a very interesting next couple months to see how everything plays out. I just made sure that I was registered to vote, and I am, because I registered twice, and I thought they was going to send me a card in the mail. I haven't gotten shit, so I was like, I had to go on and make sure I'm actually like in there, and I am. So, you know, I think I feel like the older I'm getting, you know, I'm watching the news a lot more and like paying attention to shit like this, because like now that we're in real life, I feel like a lot of this shit is starting to affect us for real now.
yeah, for real, dude. You know, like, he talks about tariffs, bro. Like, we got phones that are made in China. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like,
we can't get DJ equipment because of the fucking chips and shit, bro.
you know, you started a trade war with China, bro, and they make all of our products and stuff, and now you want to impose a tariff that's gonna that just raises the price for me. That's it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You're talking about inflation. You want to further inflate the economy and lower the taxes for the rich. You know, like, there's no way a working class individual should vote for bro. Because I mean, we're paying attention to it now because we have a stake. We have stake in the game. You know what I mean?
Facts, man. I just hope a lot of more young people take the initiative to pay attention and do their research, and make an informed decision, man. Make an informed decision. That's why I've been speaking about it so much on my platform. You feel me? It's not like I have like millions of followers, but for the 30 people who do tune in regularly every week, hopefully you guys do some research, man, and make an informed decision. You know, I don't want to be like, you need to vote this way or that way.
Yeah.
Just be informed, man.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not beholden to the same objectivity as you. Please, God, do not vote for Donald Trump in 2024.
Hey, man. Hey.
You know, but no, I'm joking, but I'm being for real. I think that we should bring back reading books, right? We've got to understand that these online publications are doing price per click for ad revenue, right? Like, so they're gonna say anything that's gonna make you click, right? It's like YouTube headlines model where you know, people would just get those gotcha clicks or whatever, but in the actual news that's reporting in from accredited news organizations and stuff like that. These people have won Pulitzers with clickbait articles. You know what I'm saying? So we've got to be realistic. I tell people, if you want to understand like the big picture stuff, you've got to read the books. You got to get into the weeds of the politics. You know, you got to start from the very basics, right? Like Adam Smith, and all the founding fathers, James Madison, Thomas Paine, and then work your way up to modern day. Like, don't just click CNN and then read, don't just click Fox News. I don't care what side, you may feel like you're on, but once you form a philosophy, then your politics will follow that philosophy.
In the words of Uncle Ruckus, read, nigga, read. Oh man, nah, facts though, man. I think we can definitely wrap it up on that note. I appreciate your time, Juice. Why don't you let the people know where they can find you at on social media? I know you're into the Twitch, man, so let them know where they can do that as well.
Yeah, you guys can find me pretty much anywhere at Juwc. On Twitch is gonna be a little bit different. On TikTok is gonna be a little bit different. But just type in Juwc, you'll find me. I'll be there DJing, looking like that, and you can also find me on. Yeah, that's pretty much it. No, that's all I'm gonna plug. That's all I'm gonna
give me your phone number.
No, I'm not gonna give him the phone number.
I just play it, man. Well, Juice, I appreciate your time, man, and your expertise. Like I said, my most politically inclined friend, so I couldn't talk about this by myself. I probably would have left a lot of shit out, man. So I appreciate your time and giving me your time to talk about this with me today, man. Make sure you check out all the other episodes. If you made it this far, thank you very much. Check out all the episodes and anywhere you get your podcast from, man. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon. If you're listening, if you're watching on YouTube, thank you for making it this far. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, all the YouTube shit to bump those numbers up, man. Tap in with my man Juice the Plug. Until next time, same place. It's the coolest podcast in the South, YSN Radio. Let's go.